right, so listen, I am Dr. Karen Dukes. You are back with Strength in Education, an educational talk show. Yes, we're on YouTube. You know what I like to say. Stay tuned in, stay tuned in. Go into YouTube, like, share, comment, and what else? Subscribe. So listen, I am back with some more guests today. I'm so proud to talk about two individual ladies that are so important in the community. So I want everyone to get your paper, get your pencil, sit back, tune in, okay? We have Miss Enid, and she's coming with some very important information. We sort of need this in the medical world, but you just need to know it anyway. So let's welcome Miss Enid to our platform. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Enid. Thank you.
Well, hello.
Oh, my Lord.
And thank you, Miss Karen,
Yes.
for having me on today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming. I know you're so busy, and but this is a well-needed business that you're in, and I thought it was very important that you come and let the listening audience hear more about your business. I've had the pleasure to work with Miss Enid twice now because of my father's health and now my mother's. But she's with Sovereign Hospice, and I thought it was very important that we get a little bit more information on what is that? What does it mean to have a loved one in hospice? Okay, help us with that.
Okay, so thank you again for having me. And hospice is a very, very important subject, and people don't talk about it enough. And I know it came into the forefront recently when one of our past president, Jimmy Carter, was placed on hospice, and everybody got excited.
Yes.
And thought, oh my gosh, yes, he's dying. And everybody ran down to planes and thought, well, he's gonna die tomorrow. And I'm so glad that that happened, because a lot of people thought or thought in the past that when you say the word hospice, that somebody was going to die the next day or in a few days. But luckily, we got a chance. Now I got a chance to educate and to tell people, yes, hospice, no, hospice is not, you're not going to die in a few days. You don't necessarily die in a few days. It's more than that. Hospice is more than that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And listen, you really touched my heart when you said that, because I talk a lot about President Jimmy Carter. My joke is that's my president. And I know you all may be thinking she's so young. What's she talking about? That's her president. But actually, the first time I voted for a president was for President Jimmy Carter, and he won. So kudos to me. But so that's why it's just personal with me. But I love him. I've always loved him. I followed him, and you know, all the politics. But so fast forward to what you're talking about. When we did receive the information by news that all of his medical issues, we didn't know about that for like a few years, and now he just felt like, okay, I'm just going home, and they said he'll have hospice. So this is how I felt about it. I wanted to call the news and say, stop talking about that. Stop checking on him like that every day. Stop saying what's going on. Let's stop saying whatever, because all the negative comments did something to me, because I just thought it was a little ridiculous that all we needed to do was just keep him in prayer and just keep living our lives and just move on, as we would do, I think, with any other loved one. So thank you for bringing that up, because yes, people look at it, and that's maybe one of the myths, or that may be a story that we did know over the years, like, oh, it's the final destination, that's the final transition. But I said, but you're not God. You don't know. You still don't know when. So that's why it was important for you to come to help us.
Yes.
With that.
So there are so many myths about hospice, and I think that is some of the things that we want to clear up today. And I think one of the myths is people think that once we talk about hospice, it means that there is nothing else that your doctor can do. Okay. Really and truly, hospice is a patient needs to have a terminal illness. That is true, yes. Under Medicare guidelines, the patient must have a terminal illness. And if that terminal illness is left to run its natural course, then Medicare says that patient will have 6 months or less before they pass. However, it does not mean that at the end of 6 months, if that patient does not pass, that they have to come off hospice. They can still be eligible and can still stay on hospice.
Okay.
So we should remember that at the end of 6 months, that patient may still be eligible and can stay on hospice care as long as they remain eligible. That is the most important thing.
Okay. So basically the main thing I like to just think of it is comfort care, period.
Comfort
I
care.
stop right there.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I stopped right there.
Comfort care. It means that the patient has elected not to have any more treatment.
Okay.
For instance, if that person has cancer and they have decided, they and their oncologists have decided, okay, we don't want any more chemo, we don't want any more radiation, we just want to go home and have comfort measures and just let the disease run its natural course until the good man upstairs says it's time for you to come home.
There you go.
And they just accept comfort measures. Comfort measures means you relieve them of their pain and symptoms.
Okay.
And that is how hospice takes over, and we take care of the pain and the symptoms. We manage their pain and symptoms and let them be comfortable. So they have time to spend with their loved ones, make up their jewels, as we say, and be at peace.
And be at peace, and I love it. And thank you when you said manage. And so I appreciate some of the terminology that we need to make sure we hear, we listen to, we're in tune, so we can just be very comfortable with that. So when we talk about hospice, so do you guys provide like a 24-hour care for the loved ones?
So we do not provide in-home companion care for 24 hours, but we are available for 24 hours by phone. We have a team consisting of a medical director, nurse, home health aide, chaplain, social worker, volunteers. All those people come together and provide support. But we do not provide somebody that is going to go and stay in the patient's house for 24 hours. We have different levels of care.
Yes, ma'am.
So, but we are available by phone for 24 hours. So the patient or the caregiver can call us any time of day, night or day, and we will be available by phone.
Awesome. I love that part. The availability. You also mentioned volunteers. I didn't know there were volunteers, but I guess we have volunteers and all.
Medicare requires that we have volunteers, volunteer service, at least 5% volunteer service. Yes, we do.
Wow. So you mentioned Medicare because I guess some people thinking that's extra care. I cannot afford that. You know, if they're at home and the medical team start talking about hospice, or they're in a long-term facility, a skilled nursing, then they add hospice. People think like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. Now you're talking more money. And so insurance-wise, what's going on? How do we have assistance?
How do we pay for hospice?
How do we pay?
Okay, so hospice is a Medicare benefit. It's a benefit of Medicare. Yes, a lot of people don't realize that. People might say, oh my gosh, I can't afford hospice. Oh yes, it's a benefit. And it's also covered by most insurance. So they don't have to worry about, how am I going to pay for that? Medicare covers it 100%, and Medicaid also covers it 100%.
Wow.
And by most insurances will also follow Medicare and Medicaid regulations.
Wow. Okay, that's really
so people should not be afraid.
Don't worry about the money.
Yes.
Because if you have insurance and you're under care somewhere, thank you for adding that extra benefit part. That's what you said.
Yes, it's a benefit.
Yes. So, woo, honey, I know we can talk all day. And you talking about 24-hour care. I'm keeping you 24 hours while I'll find out from the team. But no, and I know you'll have to come back to give us more and more information. But yesterday I was talking to someone and they were talking about signing this DNR. Why is that so important? What is the big deal and what does that mean?
The DNR, I know a lot of people worry about DNR. What does DNR mean? DNR means do not resuscitate.
Okay.
Okay, so You do not have to sign a DNR to be on hospice. You can be on hospice without a DNR, but it is always recommended that you sign a DNR. What does the DNR mean? The DNR means that if you were referred to hospice, and you were told that, okay, for instance, a doctor says, okay, there's nothing else that they can do for you. If you come back to the hospital, they're not going to be able to do anything more for your loved one. And so they recommend that you go home to have comfort care, and you're going to be in the care of your loved one just for comfort until that time comes. We recommend that you sign a DNR so that when that time comes and your loved one decides to take their last breath, you want them to go peacefully. If that was their wish, you want them to take that last breath, you're around them, you're holding their hands, you want them to go peacefully. You do not want 911 to be called, because if they don't have a DNR, then you'll have to call the paramedics. The paramedics gonna come in, they're gonna get on their chest, they're gonna try to bring them back to life. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. I can be very graphic, but I don't want to be graphic on television.
Yes,
but you can be very graphic when they try to pump their chest, bring them back to life. They have to put a tube down, take them to the hospital, have them on a ventilator, and then it is then going to be up to you, the caregiver, or the daughter, the son, who will then have to decide when to pull that plug. Now, if it was the patient's decision that they wanted to go peacefully at home with their family, and then you as a child or a companion decide against their wish and have them go to the hospital, how does that play out?
Yes.
You know, that could be, a little bit upsetting for everybody concerned. So that is why we recommend that you go ahead and sign the DNR so that person can go in peace and peacefully with everybody around when the time comes.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the whole scenario about the DNR.
And I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm thinking about, I think it was last month we interviewed a financial advisor, so we were talking about having a will, having a trust. And so I think what you're also adding to this is how we need to be very intentional about talking, communicating with your family.
Exactly.
Right? We need to know.
No, and that is why advance directives and living wills are so important when people are of a sound mind. A lot of people don't think that they should do an advance directive or a living will before they get sick.
Right.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Do it now, especially when you're of a sound mind, when you're young.
Yeah, right.
Hey, listen.
You're thinking, you're in your right mind. Let's make a plan.
People might think I may look young, but I'm a little of age. But I've already put all my stuff together and put it in place. So that if anything, I tell my daughter, if anything happens to me, you know exactly what my wishes are. And I would hope that you would carry them out.
Yes, ma'am.
So everybody should start thinking about that. Don't be afraid. It's a great topic. I do it every time. Whenever I'm around my family, I do it all the time. They said, "Oh, here she comes again."
I know they say that about you. I know when you come in the door, they're like, "Uh-oh."
Talking about that advance directive. But it is so important that you put that in place.
But it's a hard topic. You understand that.
It's a difficult topic to talk about.
And we cannot get people to
And you know what? Especially in our African American community. I don't know why we are afraid to talk about it, but we need to talk about it. We need to talk about that. And another point I have to say is I experienced this in my own family many years ago with a cousin. And so she was an only child. She lost her mom and nothing was in place. And so my cousin often talks about how now she goes around the family like you and say, "Hey, I need you. Which drawer did you put everything in that nightstand drawer in an envelope?" Because what she went through for her mom, it was very hard on her. She didn't know what to do. But going from A to Z,
She worked it out. We did the service. Life went on. But moving forward, this is a young lady. She was just in her 20s. And so she was like, oh, I cannot go through that again. So, you know, when she sits down, she makes us talk.
Yes.
She made her other uncles and aunts at the time say, hey, talk to your children and get all this in place. Don't let me have to come up with the prayer and the this and the that and looking around for your insurances and I don't know anything about your, and nowadays with all those pass and codes and your passwords and your user IDs and where's your bank, where's the insurance? And I said, oh my Lord, baby. But yeah, so I know what you're talking about. I know it's a hot topic and I know we just need to do better as people. Okay, audience, you heard that? And as I said, last month, we were talking about this with the whole life insurance, the term life, and so now we're hearing more information on medical and healthcare and how we move forward. And listen, it's life and it's living, so.
It's part of life, listen.
Part of life.
We plan for weddings and parties and engagements and all that. Death is just another part of life. It's a part of the whole circle of life. So we should plan.
So we need
for
to
that
just be
too.
prayerful. We just need to find that strength and move on, right?
That's right.
And I appreciate that. And I'm sorry, I had another question because as I was thinking about everyone that's involved with the hospice, do you lose your personal doctor at that time when you're involved with?
You don't have to.
Okay.
You don't have to. You can keep your personal doctor as your attending physician if you choose to do so.
Okay.
You can keep your personal doctor.
Awesome.
However, if you don't, then our medical director can become your attending.
So you have the full team, and that's what I heard, and that's what I love, and that's what I thought about that. Okay, so listen, awesome. We need to find you. How do we find you? How do we get more information?
Well, Sovereign Hospice, we have a website, www.sovereignhospiceinc.com.
Yes.
And we're also on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, and we also on Facebook.
Wow, I didn't know you were so advanced there.
Yes,
Go on with your social media. Well, thank you so much. So listen, as I said, we will have Sovereign Hospice back at another time to get more and more information. We love the misconceptions. We love the tips. We love all the information. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. We really appreciate it. And everyone, she gave you the information on how to find her, and I'll be putting that information out on our YouTube as well. Again, you just heard from us today, Strength in Education. I'm Dr. Dukes. Again, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Okay, hey, Dr. Dukes, I am back. Yes, I am back. But I tell you, we have guest after guest after guest. I'm so excited today. So right now, again, you know what I like to say. Sit back, get your paper and your pencil, get ready, take some notes. We are honored at this time to have Dr. Dee, and she is an author. She's a lady of many things. Let's let her talk about that. So at this time, let's welcome Dr. Dee, an author of Life Decisions, and it's a workbook. So let's have her on to tell us all about it. Dr. Dee?
Whoa.
All right.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
I had to have
It's
you.
been such a long time.
Ma'am, you know it's been a long time.
Wonderful.
And I had been missing you, I'll say, in my life. Go back a few years. And because we had a connection just through your talk show.
Yeah, through my daughter.
And through your daughter.
Yes.
And then to my surprise, last year, let's say December, we ended up at an event and I'm like, I know that lady. I know her. So thank you for remembering me. Let's say that. Because I was like, she may not remember me, but let me just get close to her face to say, hey. And thank you so much for welcoming me. You made me feel really welcome that day. And I know we have a lot in common. We like to talk, and now I'm doing a show. You had a show. And so, but no, I did an event with you. You were doing events. And
Yes, right. Yes, we were.
yes, and so that's why I was like, I hope she remembers me, because your daughter brought me in to help volunteer and do some things in the doorway, and you're such a important lady and popular, and you were doing recognitions and honors and for the people that may have been supporting you through your show. So that's what I remembered. But thank you. I'm glad God brought us back together this past, and I have to say December, because it was a few months back, but coming forward now, ta-da! I'm an author, you are an author. I was able to get your workbook, and I just been saying book, workbook, and I said, ooh, a catchy title.
Yeah.
So that's what I said, okay, Dr. D needs to come on and talk about these life decisions and tell us what's going on and why. Why do we need life decisions?
Well, you know what, you were first of all, I want to thank you so much. And when you said something, when you said so important, everybody's important.
Yes.
So when I do things, I do things with the humility, but the what I want to call it, it's not really pride, but it's the honor,
Okay.
to be able,
Yes.
to have a part in helping make this world a better place, helping others know how important they are and what it is in them that they should be looking at, and not looking at other people, because we all have a purpose in life. It's like someone looking at, say, a President Obama or Michelle Obama or somebody like that, or some Beyonce, and they look at those people, and in them, within themselves, it's almost like, oh, I wish I was them. And to me, it is whatever is great in them is in you too.
That's right.
To be who you are. And we weren't born into this world
Yes.
to look at somebody else that was born, got here the same way we did, and spend our time wishing or dreaming about being them. Because as the book says, life decisions, everybody makes life decisions. And you have to really get to know how important are you. Whatever you see in another person,
Yes, ma'am.
whatever you see that make you think that they're all that in a bag of chips, what about yourself? What's in you that you want to be proud of, that you want someone to see you and love to see you? It's this thing, and I wrote this part in the book as well. You want to be the kind of person that people love to see you come and not love to see you go.
There you go. I like that.
You know?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and you can do that. We all have, every time you wake up and breathe, that means you've been given the authority, the right to be that awesome person you're supposed to be. And down through my years, and this is another thing, I don't know why, older women always be ashamed to say their age, or a lot, and not, you don't have to be older, but
Right. Just
my
women.
thing is just women in general. They don't want to tell their age. Whereas for me, I don't mind. And my kids, they get, here she go again. But the thing is, for me, I don't mind saying I'm into my 74th year. Because once you have a birthday, that closes the door
Yes, ma'am.
to that year.
Yes.
So you walk into the beginning of another year. So that's why I say, well, I'm growing through my 74th year.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't mind saying it, because to me, that's a blessing.
And
I'm not gonna lie about it. Girl, you only look so. Well, I'm not gonna lie about a blessing.
Definitely.
Because then if I become a bad steward of being blessed, then he could take me out at any given time. Because why? Because I'm not being a good steward. It's like you don't have a child and you giving them allowances and all of this, giving them, the love, and to, thinking, oh, they're gonna do this, do that, and they don't do it. You're gonna stop giving them their allowance.
There you go.
I don't have any money to give you for you just throw away. So when we give them that, we give it to them to teach them how to, to use it and
Yes,
be
ma'am.
a good steward of it.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what this Life Decisions workbook is all about. And the thing is, when you look in here, people, ooh, you mean I gotta write?
Well,
It's your life.
it's your life.
And I say to them, when you were in school, and I like the fact that you got to teach, you got the for the children, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because when we went to school as children, we had to read, we had to write,
Right.
we had to
Yes.
respond, we had to give answers. So, yeah, it's a place for you
To write.
to write and give answers to what you've learned.
That's what I love about it. And what does it say? Life Decisions workbook. So you're
Work.
going to do some work.
Yes,
And
yes.
my last days reading this, I was at the airport, guys, and I said, "Woo! Let me take my workbook."
That's a good.
While
that's
I'm
a good,
sitting around.
That's a good place to use that. book.
Yes, and
It
I
is.
said, "Uh-oh,
While
let me
you're
get
sitting.
started on my homework."
Exactly, and that's what it's for.
Yes, and everyone, all my listeners, and yes, it's not really that thick and it's not much, but the first part, and I thought we needed to talk about that, it says take the time to express yourself regarding what do you expect. So now this is the first page
Right.
coming off of, after she does her acknowledgments and her introductions. So why was it important for you to start there? Express yourself.
Because even in the beginning, it's kind of like an instructional sheet, the part that teaches about intentional living.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you really need to live intentionally.
Exactly.
You really need to know what it is that you're going to do. As a matter of fact, I have this little, it's a stress ball, but it's of the world.
Yes.
And in the world, it may be stressful.
Okay, I was
But
wondering.
when you feel what it does, here, just take it. And I'm putting this world in your
In
hand.
my hand.
Now that is your world
Woo!
because it's in your hand.
In my hand. I have the whole world in my
And
hand.
you do, because your world is your world.
That's right.
And it's nobody else's. So we all have our own world.
I love it. And I had a globe here today because I have a thing about education, the world, and I like to feature my globe
Right,
when
right.
I'm doing my recordings. Did someone write a song about the world?
What the world needs now. Yes.
Yeah.
And on other songs as well.
Another song.
But you have to realize that that's your world. Now, I
You
can't
took the
take
world?
your world.
Okay.
Because now it's my world. Because it's in my hands.
Yes.
So therefore, as an individual, I can't control your world. Because now this is my world. Because it's in
Wow.
my hands.
Yes.
So that would let you know you are the only world for you. And then that remember, for me, I remember we used to have summer Bible school.
Yes, ma'am.
And we used to learn, he's got the whole world in his hands. Well, you've got the whole world in his
Whole
hand
world.
because
That was the other
he
song.
gave you the permission.
Yes.
Why? Because he woke you up. So once you wake up and take a breath, then that means that the creator of life has given you the authority to
Yes.
control your world.
Wow. I love it. And I was watching you and I said, I can't wait to hear the story behind her holding her squeeze, her stress ball.
Yeah, because
But it's the world in her hand.
Because the world can be stressful.
And that's true. I have a thing, one of my little mottos, enjoy life and living. You know, at the end of the day, through it all, it's all about life. And,
It is.
and enjoy life and living. And so, and
And-
take one day at a time.
It really is, but we all have that. And another thing that I like for people to consider, the fact is, when you talk about living,
Yes, ma'am.
and then the first thing generally that comes to a person's mind is money.
Uh-oh.
Because in order to live, you got to have money.
Money, okay.
So they end up living their life for money.
Money.
When money is really not the true currency of life. Money is a tool. The true currency of life is time.
Time. Okay, audience.
And we all get the same amount
Of time.
of time. It comes when we spend that time that the investment of that time is what you're looking for.
Yes, ma'am.
So I with my Nuwave Consulting company, that I have, because people need help. You know how people pay to go to college?
That's right.
And then now parents are paying kids to go to private schools?
Yes.
Well, there comes a point in your life when you reach what they call an adult.
Yes. Uh-oh.
You
Reality check.
Yes, because that's another thing when it comes to being an adult. Even being adult, you got to understand that even though you're an adult in size and number of life, like what is it? When you get over, to me, the society within itself kind of is very misleading.
Uh-oh.
Why? Because society tries to tell you that you're an adult when you're 18. Right. And then there's another spectrum that they call it 21.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
But the thing is, and I hear parents calling their children adults. Oh, he's a little man, and he's 5.
Yeah, don't rush. Don't rush.
You know what I'm saying? Little man, and then when they get to be 12 and stuff, then they're saying things like, "Oh, girl, she's a grown woman. She grown as me." I'm like, really?
Dr. D, you are so funny. You know I can talk to you all day, all night. I love your expressions. I love all of your sayings. So you mentioned your consultant business. How do we continue following you? How do we follow you? Is your book on Amazon?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
And also, I like to sign copies so people can order
Yes, ma'am.
directly from me.
Okay.
And I can send it to them signed and that sort of thing. And as you with being a part of the consulting for my business, when you become a client, you automatically get a book.
Oh, you get the book. Yes, yes.
Yes, because that is a part of the tool.
Yes, ma'am. I see it. I see the vision. I see it.
That you need to use. And the one thing I say to people when they, I can see the light come on when I say, consulting fee or buy the book or whatever, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
And then they become hesitant about making the decision.
The next word there, that second line.
To do
something for them.
for themselves.
Yes.
But when they look at me, it's like, but they'll go and buy Gucci. They'll go and buy Louis Vuitton. And not even stuff of that caliber, Lord and Taylor's and whatever they buy.
Whatever.
I got to go
brand
buy a
is.
car.
Yes, ma'am.
Or whatever you got to buy is for you. But when you want to purchase a life-changing product, that becomes a problem.
Right, and it should not be. So listening audience, we can go on and on, but please reach out to Dr. D. Give us the name of your consulting business again.
It's Nuwave Consulting Group.
Okay, and we can find you
And we're on Facebook, of course. I am in LinkedIn. I have a website that's going into the hospital pretty soon, but it's the QOSgroup.org.
Okay, awesome.
The QOSgroup.org.
Great.
is the website. And of course, they can always reach out to me, text to me.
Would you like to give your number, ma'am?
Oh, sure, because
Yes.
texting is a good way for me.
Yes.
Because I'm not always on a computer
No,
or
no, no, no.
technology,
I know,
but
that
I always,
email.
we always have our phone. And the number is 770-572-6642. And they can just text their name and what it is that they want, or they can go on the website and fill out the information. Yeah, the contact
Awesome.
information from there as well.
Thank you. Thank you. So listen, we heard all of that from Dr. D. She is wonderful. Please reach out because we all need some help in our lives. We need help in making life decisions. We're going to have Dr. D back because she's awesome and she has a wealth of knowledge for us. So we have to stay connected, ma'am. We will stay connected. But at this time, we want to just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, getting on over here, sharing. And I know we have some more work to do in the community together.
Well, and it's getting really what I want to say, a dire need. And one more thing I do want to add,
Yes.
as something that I want people to remember when it comes to decisions, right? Because you got to understand, decisions plus dedication plus discipline equals change.
Ooh, that's a formula. You heard that?
It is.
That's a formula.
Because it's because the currency of life is time. So when you spend your time, you're with the decision, the dedication, and the discipline, you get change.
Wow. There you go.
Whereas when you spend money, which is a tool, you get change, but it's not the kind of change that's really going to enhance your life. Because you can't really get a refund on time.
Wow, you big on that word, time.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you so much. Listeners, please appreciate all this knowledge that we gained. And as I said, we'll be back. Stay in touch with me, but also please reach out to Dr. D. Let's thank her. We appreciate you. And at this time, we're just going to prepare for some other conversations, and we're going to enjoy the rest of this day. So again, thanks.